Welcome to the Strategic Development and Property Subcommittee of the 1st of June 2021. That's echoing. I have to move that back. I'm just reminding you that we are live streaming. We will start with the karakia, which is up on the screen. Thank you very much. We've got the first item on the agenda is apologies. We have an apology for lateness from John Peters. That's the only apology I have received. I'd like to move that. Would someone like to second that? Councillor Bywater, I'll put that. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Confirmation order of business is as on the agenda. I have been told that there may be some noise happening about 10 o'clock outside, which may interrupt our meeting. Hopefully we'll get the first part of our meeting over before that construction happens. So just for your information. Just any interests that need to be declared at this time? If not, just make sure that we keep our interest register up to date and let me know if there's anything on the agenda that occurs to you at the time. There is no public forum, so we move to the confirmation of the minutes for the 1st of April. You'd like to move that, Councillor Skinner? Is that a true and correct record? Just have a quick look, pages 7 to 13. So it is okay. I'm looking for a seconder. Councillor Brand. Right. I'll put that. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Chairperson's report, page 14 and 15. Basically what I've done there is I've asked our new marina manager to write some points of what's been happening down at the marina, and he's given those to me. There is some further information in public excluded, which you would have seen on the agenda. So basically there's quite a lot happening down at the marina, and we feel like there's getting some progress, which we haven't been able to get for some time without a manager on site who's got some experience, and Nigel certainly has. Unfortunately, he's not well today, and he will zoom in probably in the public excluded part of the session. Okay, have we got any questions on that? Mr. Murray.
Yeah, thank you. Just a very quick question about the report itself. Will this morph into an actual standalone report by the marina manager in due course, as opposed to coming through the chair?
We'll ask Ms. Group Manager Community Services to answer that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If that's what the subcommittee would like, I think that is a good approach to take.
Yep, thank you. Councillor Bywater?
That was actually my same question, so yes, obviously there's a keenness around the table for that.
Okay, but maybe we'll pass that back through to Nigel, since he's not able to be here. Right, it's been moved by Councillor Skinner and I'll second it since it's my report. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Next item on the agenda is page 16, which is the Strategic Development Property Quarterly Report to the 31st of March, the marina and campgrounds only. So you will have other items in there that don't belong to this committee. So we'll concentrate on the ones that are marina and campground related. So page 16, is someone going to present this? We've got an officer that's coming. Mr. White. And Ms. Bartlett, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this report will largely take it as read, but happy to answer any questions. This is probably a bit of a precursor to a more extensive quarterly report to be provided around campgrounds and the marina. It's material that's been pulled through from the Community and Recreation quarterly report. So you'll see quite a lot of information there that is not related to marina or campgrounds, and I assume you'll just be focusing on the marina and campgrounds elements.
Yes, that's what I've asked them to do. I'm not going to answer any questions or have you answer any questions that relate to anything else. Any questions on the quarterly report? Mr. Murray.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for that. Looking forward to a revised report. I was finding it pretty difficult to read. In fact, if you refer to page 18, I'm looking at the graphs there, and that bottom graph is the operating expenditure for the Mai Tai camp, and I actually got a ruler out to figure out how many millimetres that line was relative to the $1 million to see how much it was costing us. So it'll be good to see a revised report. Question though is around the Brook Camp income. I see it's less than budget. I think we know it's less than budget. I suppose I'll just pose a question, and it's not really for answering today, but one for officers to consider about, are we actually taking some proactive steps to increasing the revenue there, considering we're going to be managing the camp for the next 12 months, some advertising, some promotional stuff to get people in through the door here, and to increase that top line in terms of activity at the Brook Camp, which will obviously go straight to offsetting our costs.
Through the chair, thank you for that. Yes, in response to that, yes, we are. We just started at the start of this year to have a more proactive marketing program for the Brook Camp, with the camp manager working with council, with the website, updating the website, also working with the mountain bike club to have links into guests that could come and stay at the camp and use the mountain bike park, etc. So it's small scale, but yes, we are working on increasing those visitor numbers.
Councillor Skinner.
Yeah, probably just re-emphasising Mr. Murray's question there. I think the marketing is something I think I've raised in the past. I'm always a bit concerned if we're marketing it well enough. And is that really the responsibility of the camp manager? I mean, or is it more responsibility of our in-house marketing team, or both?
Through the chair, thank you for that question. Yes, it's definitely a joint effort, and we are working with our website people in here and also Stu Dalton around potential marketing opportunities for that.
Cool, I know that'd be good, Stu Dalton doing it. And just feedback, and I know I've presented that in the past, I know it's always sometimes hard to reach out with any business or product out to the marketplace, but I still get myself personally about 3-4 calls a week, people not knowing it exists. And I say, okay, call me because I used to be on the camping spots association, and people in 10 years ago, when people rang and say, hey, have you got a park spot? I don't have a park over spot, but it's still in the printed directory. People would say, hey, have you got a parking spot? And I say, no. And they go, that's fine, I'll go up to the Brook Camp. Now people ring, it's been the last 3 or 4 years. I'm not sure how to get around that, as they ring and I say, well, there's a Brook Camp, and they have no idea that it ever existed or it does exist. So I'm sure we're doing our best efforts, but as far as the feedback, I'm not sure whether it's more advertising in other areas or...
I think probably, Councillor Skinner, if you're having people ring you, then you need to talk to the staff about the best way for that you can direct the people to get the information.
No, because it doesn't come through in regards to any council advertising. They seem to understand that there's other camps available, but they don't understand that it's almost been lost in a generation. And a generation ago, everybody seemed to know about the holiday park. You could picnic up there, you could pitch your tent up there, you could cycle up there, you could go for a swim up there. Now people don't know it exists. And whether that's just the way people use media or social media, or the yellow pages don't exist anymore in people's mindsets, but it's just telling you there seem to be a blind spot from the area. And maybe it's the difference between having someone else running it and getting very proactive because it's their bread and butter, or whether it's us, we've got a lot of things to do and it gets caught up in the bigger picture. But I'm not trying to be critical or negative, I'm just saying that's how it is.
So that, I mean, the plan was for us not to be operating it ourselves after a year, so we've extended that. So we'll have to have a look at how all the staff will go and do some work on that.
Thank you.
Any other queries? Mayor?
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I've just got a suggestion that, we talked off the Chair's report before about having a marina report. Is there any reason that it couldn't just be part of the, of the quarterly report? Or is that not frequent enough? If there was something
don't get it
happening,
every
I would think if there was a decision needing to be made, that a report would come in any event. So if there was but otherwise, in terms of just keeping us updated, is the quarterly report a better place for that to happen? I'm just posing that question. I'm just trying to think what we can do to make this as efficient as
This is the first
possible.
quarterly report we've had, so, yeah, we need some reporting.
Through you, Madam Chair, I think from an officer perspective, we would like to focus on the decision reports that come to the committee, but also noting that the committee appears to have a need for information reports. We would like that to be refined as much as possible, but the committee needs to make a call on just how regular it would like us to be reporting information around the sort of strategic things that are particularly fast moving at the moment. I think possibly Mr. Murray's question may have been based on the fact that the marina is moving so quickly.
Yeah.
And quarterly may not be regular enough, but I think that's a call for the committee to make.
Yeah, I think.
I'll leave you to have a conversation
Yes.
with Mr. White in terms of how
I'm sure we can come up with something, because I think that both the marina and the campgrounds at the moment, there's quite a lot happening, and I think a 6-weekly update would be appropriate. The format is I'm pretty relaxed with the way that it's delivered. And I think the committee are as well, as long as that information comes to the committee. Would I be, yes?
I'm not sure about that.
Would you like to comment then?
Yeah, well, I'll comment exactly the way I commented last meeting, and that is we have two, well, not necessarily the Brook Camp, but definitely in the marina. We have quite a substantial commercial undertaking going on there. And I sort of reflect on it as being consistent with if I was on a board of another organisation of similar size and ilk, and certainly wouldn't be 6 weekly or quarterly, be monthly. And the reports would extend to things like health and safety, debt collection, revenue, how we're going on budget line by line, how we're implementing strategy. And so there's a whole basket of stuff there, which I'm happy if this committee goes, oh, okay, yeah, we're happy just to sort of like let that all pass by. But my sort of take on this at the moment is it's fast moving, it's changing, it's moving forward, it's progressing, and it needs some pretty regular oversight. So, I don't want to be critical of what we've got here, but I don't feel from this meeting that I have a good understanding of what's happening on the marina from the reports. I don't know what's happening in the expense lines, in the revenue lines, not even sure if things have been implemented. So that's the sort of thing I'd be looking for as a governor of that organisation. Now, appreciate we're not in that setting. So that would be the conversation to me to be having. And the council staff, rightly so, want some direction on this. That's great, because we can't keep coming to the meetings and going, oh, this isn't quite what we want, or it needs to be different. We need to sort that out and land on a spot. But by the same token, this isn't exactly the same as doing a capital works project, or it's actually a real live commercial undertaking, in my take, which requires a bit more than 6 weekly or quarterly. That's just my take on it. Happy for that to be talked and discussed about. But, what's this committee's view of the debtors? Outstanding. Don't know.
Not happy with the debtors, but that is being worked on. Look, as chair, I do hear more probably than the committee does. Some of that can be promulgated out to you if you want more. There's been quite a lot going on in the last few weeks with the long-term plan, so that has certainly taken the focus on things. Madam Mayor, have you got a suggestion?
Look, I think what I'll suggest we do is I could suggest that we could do is that we've got this item in public excluded. And I think once we've gone through today's agenda, I think we just need to be really clear about trying to formulate what it is that we want, and we probably maybe want to come back into just to land on what Mr. Murray's talking about. There is a lot of change going on, and I think it would be useful for us to set out what that change is. We've had quite some discussion through the long-term plan, so we've got a bit of a sense of it there, but now we just need to close the loop and bring that decision-making back in here and put some framework around it. So I think that's the gap that we've got at the moment, and that's understandable, because literally we're just going through from, a cycle from, 10 days, 2 weeks ago to try and bring that through. So But I think, yes, given the rate of change, and Mr White's talked about that as well, we do need to get some sort of framework here to make sure we're getting the governance input at the right level. Otherwise, I think one of the issues that can occur there, if we don't have it that way, then there's too much of a bit of a mix into operational matters, and I want to make sure we don't get into that space.
Well, I'll have a discussion with the group manager and see what we can come up with, and probably test it on a few of you if that's all right. Okay. Right. Any other queries? I've got one regarding the Brook Holiday Park. There was a total of 1,358 guest nights, but I don't know how that relates to anything. Do we know what it was the previous year?
Through the chair, sorry, I haven't got that information with me at the moment, but I'll be happy to get that for you.
That'd be great. It'd be nice to have sort of a level of where it's going. Any further questions? So we are being asked to just receive the report. Somebody like to move? Councillor Bowater, somebody like to second? Somebody like to second? Councillor Skinner, thank you. I'll put that. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried by one voice. That concludes, I'll just check, that concludes all the public. So we will be needing a mover to go into exclude the public. As set out in the agenda, there are a number of items. 2, 3, 4, the Strategic Development Property Subcommittee minutes, confidential Chair's report, the Kinsett Terrace lease, and Marina Transition Project. Thank you. Councillor Skinner, Councillor Bowater, I'll put that. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried.